whether we can say COVID, Black Lives Matter that has happened in America, it's a wake-up call not just for African American people, it's a wake-up call for all of us as human beings.
And it took me to a place where I was just reading a sports article, really. I thought it was just about sports. No, it was my favorite sports writer, who was a black man, who was talking about, hey, why is it my white friends can talk to me about the NBA Finals, they can call me and have a chat about anything in the sports world, but this really important topic comes up, and then where are they? And I read that and I went, I don't want that to be me.
I went to a high school that had one African American in my graduating class. I had no relationship to understand any of the issues and the pain and the struggle, you would get in relationships of friends.
If we are going to have a conversation about what is happening right now, we're going to have a conversation about racism. It exists in schools. Schooling is an institution in this country. It exists in schools.
Now we acknowledge the racist history of felon disenfranchisement in this country. We acknowledge that. But we did not allow ourselves to be just defined just by that moment in history.
When we talk about, again, the public trust and reconciliation and the power of recognizing mistake and being accountable for mistakes, that's not just individually, that's systems, institutions.
In my case, my mother did ask me, had I committed that crime? And I did tell my mother I did, and my mother had me arrested. So I knew that I was responsible for something. I knew that I had to take accountability. And that's the thing that I'm actually saying that all of us need to do. Have the courage to say you're responsible for what you've done, and then have the courage to do something different. That's what reconciliation is. That's where restoration has to happen. Restorative justice is about that. I've been asked on more than one occasion why 67 minutes and what is its association with Nelson Mandela International Day. For me, 67 minutes is actually the heart of what Nelson Mandela Day is. It represents his 67 years of sacrifice and struggle for freedom, justice, and human rights. I can't think of anything better that we can do than to honor that kind of legacy. So this year, we have put together a documentary which poses a question: what in this historic moment, with overlapping crises of COVID-19 and civil unrest, what from Nelson Mandela's legacy could they draw from that's instructive in this historic moment? And specifically, how has the issue of systemic racism impacted them? The goal is to challenge people to be reflective about their own truth, to challenge people to be courageous with sharing their truth in a way that uplifts others.
As you virtually celebrate Nelson Mandela International Day, you should not lose hope, because the power is within all of us to make this a better world. It is even worse with the issue of systematic racism in the US, but it's a problem that plagues the whole world, not just the US. Even us as South Africa still experience systematic racism, and not to mention the issue of those who are poor, who do not have anything, and it's worse for them under this pandemic. However, as I say, I'd like to read you words of comfort from my dad, Nelson Mandela, who in April 26, 1990, uttered these words: "Our single most important challenge is to help establish a social order in which freedom of the individual will truly mean the freedom of the individual. We must construct a people-centered society of freedom in such a manner that it guarantees the political liberties and the human rights of all our citizens, not just a few. Our definition of freedom is the freedom of an individual, and it must be instructed by the fundamental objective to restore human dignity of all citizens in the world. This requires that we speak not only of political freedom, but freedom from want, freedom from hunger, freedom from deprivation, freedom from ignorance, because that's why we have racial injustice, because it's the ignorance of people of the other. Freedom from suppression and freedom from fear. Fear that as a black man, you have to be cautious where you go. We want to live in the world where that freedom is guaranteed. These freedoms are the fundamental to the guarantee of human dignity of all citizens. On this Mandela International Day, I beseech all goodwill citizens of the world to join together to provide hope and a better life for all. Only when we open our hearts and our minds through education of our consciousness can we truly transform our societies. We should, my dear friends, show empathy and compassion for those who are not like us and those who are poor.
You doing? Yes, good. I've taken off my mask, and I'm gonna talk low so as to make sure I do proper social distancing with you. But I want to just, first of all, as I was saying this morning, I don't take it for granted that just because you're here and in this facility that you have to come out here and listen to me, especially come out here with an attitude of an open mind. But what I'm going to talk to you today about, the title of my talk today, what I'm going to share with you, it's called Turn the Cell into a Classroom, Turn the Prison into a University. So at 22 to 25, I was on a crime spree. When I got arrested, the judge looked at me. He said, "Young man, I spent 2 days trying to figure out how to sentence you. Man, my only regret is I cannot give you more time." He sentenced me to a maximum sentence of 75 years. I was 25 years old. I was 40 years old by the time I got out of prison. 15. And the 5 before that served a total of 20 years. While I was in prison the second time, I earned my bachelor's and master's degree from Boston University. You've already been told how powerless you are. You've already been told how the system is against you. You've already been told that it's going to be almost impossible to succeed. That's not my message. I recognize there's systemic injustice. I recognize that there's systemic racism. I recognize all those things, but here's what I want you to know that's more powerful than that. You. I want everyone in the room share one word that best describes you. One word that best describes you. I'm going to go around. Generous. Humble. Determined. Determined squared. Intelligent. Smart. Optimistic. Intelligent. Talented. Confident. Outgoing. Now listen to this. Of the words that were selected, not one person said lacking self-esteem, lacking self-discipline, lacking any of those things. You know why? Because when you're asked your best, you know what it is. You know what your best is. I have an organization called Reflecting Freedom Network. And with this organization, we created a program around education, accredited education, and employment training. So we have what's called a Nelson Mandela International Day Scholarship. I've already got scholarships for everyone here. All of you already have it. You didn't know it walking into the room, but you already have a scholarship for the program. So it is 100% free to you. But this is why I say to you, that part is the easy part. I'm removing every barrier that might make it difficult for you to succeed. That's the easy part, because I've been down this path. The most important part for you is going to be to do the work to earn it. That's right. That's right. Staying focused, carrying it through, not getting distracted, doing the work. You are more powerful than anything that has been created to destroy you. You are born to a destiny greater than any force that would come to destroy that destiny. And I'm committed to using my life and my resources to ensure that you have an opportunity to pursue the highest vision you have of yourself, because you deserve it. But you got to earn it. I can provide you with the opportunity. You're only going to get the outcome if you earn it. Let's do something extraordinary. Nelson Mandela said it always seems impossible until it's done. Let's do the impossible. Hi, Melissa. How are you today?
I'm well. I'm
Good.
well.
Good. Well,
It's nice to see you.
it's great to see you. And first, I'd just like to hear what you think about reconciliation, especially in this turbulent time.
I think it is important and I think it is powerful. And I certainly think, from my vantage point as a stakeholder in the criminal justice system, so often the justice system denies people harmed and people who offend the opportunity for reconciliation. And I know it can make all the difference. So I believe in it. I've always believed personally the power of I'm sorry. I believe it in my own life. I try to teach my children the power of both being able to say I'm sorry and the power to grant forgiveness. So I think reconciliation, I agree that it is something that has to come from within. It can't be forced. It can't be dictated by policy. But when it's genuine and when it does come from within people, what can come from it is incredible.
Wow.
It's peace that
Yes.
can come from it.
Exactly. And you know, when I think about your role in the context of the criminal justice system, it's, as a state attorney, it's a very powerful role. It's a role
It is.
I think of the major stakeholders when we're having conversations about criminal justice reform. And for me, the prosecutor's role is central. And do you see it that way?
I do. The prosecutor has immense power, and really within the confines of the law, but really enormous discretion. and how the prosecutor uses that power and that discretion can either further engender healing in a community, trust in the system, or if abused, it can have the opposite effect. So it's the prosecutor and the power that the prosecutor yields is incredibly important. That's why people who hold these positions of public trust have to maintain that trust. So we have to ensure that we are using our power and our discretion fairly, equitably, appropriately, and where we fail or make a mistake that we own it.